Video number 223, estimation and rounding. In this first slide, we're going to divide and round to the nearest whole number. We're going to go ahead and divide 15 divided by 4. We're going to get 3 with a 3 remainder, so 3 3/4. And we're just going to go ahead and round that 3 3/4 up to a 4. So we're going to go ahead and do these 4 problems here on the next page. Here we go. So 15 divided by 4 gives us exactly 3 with 3 remaining because we landed safely on the number 12. Therefore, we have 3 3/4. Notice how I'm using the approximation symbol. We are rounding to approximately 4 because 3/4 only needs one more unit in order to make, or one more object to get another group of 4. So therefore, we would end up with approximately 4. All right. 27 divided by 5. Well, we land safely on 25. We have a remainder of 2. In this case, because we only have 2 of that next group, that 6th group of 5, we don't quite have 6 groups of 5. Here we had 3 groups of 4 with 3 extras. That's why we had 3/4. That's why we rounded up to 4, because we almost had a 4th one. So here we end up with only 2 extra out of 5. We still need 3 more, so we round that down to 5. Okay? Now we have 100 divided by 30. And in this case, we have 3 with 10 remaining, so 3 and 10 over 30. So we only have 10 out of that group of 30 to make another group of 30. We only had 3 groups of 30. That brought us up to 90. So that, therefore, since we only have 10 out of 30, we still need 20 more. We keep it rounded down to 3. Here's an interesting one. 51 divided by 6. You'll land safely on 48, so therefore you'll use 8 with 3 remaining, because we're trying to find groups of 6. We can find 8 groups of 6, and that brings us up to 48 with 3 extra. So therefore, in this case, we actually have 3 in our 9th group of 6. And we only need 3 more to get that 9th group. So this is absolutely split right in half. That's why this would be called 8 1/2. We'll go ahead and round this up to 9. This is the one situation that in mathematics that is not necessarily perfectly explained. There really is no perfect reason why we round up to 9, other than the fact that we just go ahead and consider the glass is half full. Next one, round to the nearest 100. 100. Well, you have the ones, tens, hundreds, thousands position, 10,000s, 100,000s position. So we're going to round to the 5. In this case, we have 15 100s with 79 almost. 79's almost 100. So therefore, we will round this up to 1,600, and here's how it all shake down. So you'll end up with 1,600. You'll end up with 83,200 and 941,100. So in this case, the 79 brings the 5 up, the 32 keeps the 2 down, and the 51 raises the 0 up to a 1. Now I like to use the next 2 decimal places. So here we're deciding on that 5. Instead, now a lot of teachers will teach to look at the next 1 spot. I like to take a look at the next 2 spots and call that a percentage. I like to call that 79% of another 100. That's why we went ahead and called it 1,600. Here you only have 32% of another 100, so we left it at 83.2. All right. Next one, round to the nearest 100th. Okay, round to the nearest 100th. Oh, excuse me. Actually, we're going to do this one to the nearest 10th. Here we go. But for those of you that were interested in hundredths, we would round to this spot. So nearest 10th, we're going to round to this first spot. So we have thousands, hundreds, tens, ones, tenths with a TH, hundredths with a TH, and thousandths with a TH. Okay? So we have 1579.849. This is actually 849 1,000ths. And we're going to talk about that later on with decimals and percentages. Right now we're just sticking with rounding. So we're going to round to the nearest 10th. So we're going to decide whether or not the 8 is going to stay as an 8 or if we're going to round it up to a 9. And again, we go ahead and use the next 2 spots. We call it 49%. And 49% is less than half. So we leave it as 0.8. And here's how they all work out. So you end up with 1579.8. Here, the 72 rounds the 2 up to a 3. Here, the 50 rounds the 0 up to a 1. And here, the 51 rounds the 9 up to a 10. But we can't put a 10 in one digit. We can't put 10 in a one-digit place. So therefore, the 51 takes the 9 up to a 10. How do you accomplish that? Bumping up the 1 to a 2 and then putting a 0 here to indicate to the crowd that we did, in fact, round to the nearest 10th successfully. All right? Next one, estimate the following. Well, since we're estimating, we're going to go ahead and round beforehand, then add up. So we're going to go ahead and call this about 900, about 700, add it up, get 1600, and so on for the other two. So 900 plus 700 is about 1600. This is, again, 900 times 700 is about 630,000. It's pretty close. You can check with a calculator here. So if you round one of them down and one of them up, you'll end up with a pretty accurate answer. Here you got 900 minus 700, that's about 200. I used equal sign here because this is in fact 200 when we use the estimation symbol here. Here I just used the estimation symbol for both, but it's not a big deal. Estimate the following. We have 12,941 plus 6,888, yada, yada, yada. Here they don't tell us how to estimate, so we're going to use our brains. Since all four of these are written in thousands, let's round to the nearest thousand. 13,000, 7,000, 14,000, 5,000, bam. If you subtract and add those together, 13 plus the 8 is 21, plus the 14 is 35, minus the 5 gives us about 30,000. And go ahead and check in the calculator. You'll see this is pretty close. All right, estimate the following. We have 729 divided into 44,286. Again, they don't tell us how to estimate, so we're going to use our own brains. We're going to use about 700. We're going to call this about 42,000. Why did I call that about 42,000? Bam! Because 42 divides by 7. So why not, if I'm going to use 7 here, why not make this a 42? It's just that, again, we are calling this approximately 60. We're obviously rounding to the nearest 10. The answer is definitely going to be between 60 and 70. If we had this as what, 49,000, we would say this is closer to 70, but it's 44,000. 44,000 is definitely closer to 42 than it is to 49. I would say that since this is 2,000 more than this, and it's 5,000 from 49,000, I think we can safely say that 60 is pretty close. It's probably closer to about 63, because you do have to take into account that we did round this down. So we rounded both of them down, which was actually pretty good. But it's probably more like 63, and obviously you guys can check in your calculators right there, but that's not what this is about. It's about estimation and rounding. So, good times. Talk to you later.